We're back! Yeah, dude, we've been on a hiatus way too fucking long. It's making me upset. Kevin, thank you for coming. Give some music.
Thank you for having me once again.
Dude, you're an awesome guest. I love having you. We actually have good conversations.
Yeah.
No offense on all my other guests. I mean, but we have good talks, so I wouldn't mind. The fact that you even came to me about this, I'm ready to learn. I'm mind blown. I didn't even know about this movie. So before we start, let me get this situated here on this end. We're gonna get that over there.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything
At all? Okay, so what it is, it's the adapter connective part.
Okay.
That part, yeah. Just messed it a little bit. Do you hear it? You might have to pull it out.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and if you hear any disgruntled, it's right there. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's start with that. Unfortunately, the way that technology is now, nothing, all these cords besides the headphones have the three-prong thing. You know, when you take off your headphones and it has the mono stereo line, and now they have a third line. The third line represents the microphone. A lot of these adapters and stuff don't have the third line adapter. So like you're plugging them in and you're plugging them into a stereo input. So when that third line hits, it gets kind of confused. So it's like, I've never done this. This isn't a routine headphones. These aren't headphones. These are headphones with a mic.
Interesting.
And those are just headphone jacks, which is kind of weird. But I mean, you've seen them, the way that the stupid lines on the, which is a XLR cable. No, 1.5 millimeter jack, whatever. I can't remember the names of all of them. But anyways, we are back. We've been off for like 2 months now. It's kind of sad. But again, thank you for coming. The fact that we're going to talk about the black metal scene in this movie is kind of cool because I didn't even know about it. I saw one little trailer, which we're going to play here in a second. Pull up the trailer for the Lords of Chaos. There you go. We'll play that here in a second. But I didn't even know, like, how long has this movie been out?
They've been working on it for a while now. They actually tried to release it in 2010, and they couldn't find the funding for it, so it fell through. But then they just kept trying. Finally got it made. I only found out about this a few weeks ago as well.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I was looking at other things too. I was looking at Q&As and stuff that they were having about the movie, and it's like, you know, it's starting to get into production, and now we have the official trailer. It's out. What does it say? February 8th?
Yeah.
That's almost like in 2 weeks. Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, man. And being you, like the amazing black metal fan that you are, how did you feel when this is? Oh, man. How do you feel they're gonna depict the story? Like, this is a really touchy thing, man.
Right, I know. It's based on truth and lies. I like that. A whole lot of lies. Like, well, they got the names right, and it is set in Norway, so there is some truth.
Okay, so they have some.
Now, anyways, let me preface it with this: if you're unfamiliar with the story and the black metal scene in general, this might be an enjoyable movie. If you're looking for truth, it's gonna be wildly inaccurate.
Okay, but that's pretty much true of any adaptation of a story, right? Like, you've seen so many times where Hollywood takes a true story and then they just like, well, that never happened. That's what went on here. So I can see this with this movie.
Yeah, and if you want an more accurate version of the story, watch the documentary Until the Light Takes Us.
Yeah,
it's really good. I think it's on YouTube right now. Go check it out before it's taken down. There's a deleted scenes clip that's really good too.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the story, this might be a good movie. If you're familiar with the story and if you're a true black metaler, I'm not, but if you're a true black metaler, fuck this movie.
So it's not. So people in Norway are probably not really like true black metal fans. Are probably just like,
this is stupid.
I can't believe you're doing this.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, and the more I looked into this movie, the stranger it got. The director of the movie used to play drums for Bathory.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So, like, beginning stages of Bathory?
Yeah, apparently he had two other members at least in the very beginning. They played a lot of live shows. Like, that's how they got, like, recognition around the scene at that point, you know?
Yeah.
And they They were really loved by Scandinavians because they were a serious version of Venom in a way, and a harder version, because Venom's kind of silly.
Yeah, they had the theatricals to them because I
They
always
were,
the leather pants, the like
yeah.
studded necklace and stuff. I saw it.
No, so like Bathory was sort of a serious version, heavier version of Venom.
Okay.
So like that's why Scandinavians loved Bathory once in the early days of the black metal scene. So, anyways, that's weird.
So that the director was
Yeah, but he hasn't played with Bathory since like '84 or '85. So
okay.
like he's been. I think he became a music video director after that.
Okay.
He's directed a lot of metal videos, Metallica videos. I think he's done a Lady Gaga video from what I've heard.
Crazy.
He's done a lot of weird shit. So, anyways, I guess where do I begin?
I mean, I know that's what's the crazy part about this story is like, because you can even go back farther than this to the neglect of the whole tradition of Norway. Like their ancestry is pretty much the Vikings, you know, these Odin and Thor and all these other mythical characters.
Well,
and then
go ahead.
Then they just get pushed over by Christianity.
Right. That's one of the original messages of true Norwegian black metal. It was Norwegian nationalism. They wanted all traces of the Christian invaders that took away their culture, destroyed their culture, built churches over sacred lands, sacred sites, old Viking sacred sites. They wanted all traces of their Christian invaders out of there because that's not their religion. That's not their culture. So it like almost borderline on racism because when you start saying stuff like that, it's interpreted as kind of like, kind of sounds racist. And if it sounds racist, it probably is racist. But like they viewed Norway as it was a perfect society, very low crime rates, very low drug addictions, you know, very low violence, very low immigration. They viewed it as a close to perfect society. And they just wanted to go back to that. And they were also mad at American commercialism, specifically the Tampa Bay death metal scene, where it was just everyone started sounding the same, everyone started looking the same, all the cover album art started looking the same.
So we're talking about people like Morbid Angel,
Cannibal Corpse, Death,
that whole genre, the Florida Bay Area. It's
American death metal in general, American commercialism, but specifically like the Tampa scene, they really hated.
Wow, that's great.
So black metal, true Norwegian black metal, was made as a direct response to like, fuck you, American death metal.
Yeah.
It all sounded the same to the point where the drummer of Dark Throne, Fenriz, was complaining about this. All the bands started going to the same recording studio to get that same sound.
Oh, okay.
And it just became commercialism bullshit. So it was Norwegian nationalism, you know, fuck Christianity, and fuck you to American commercialism. That was the original message of true Norwegian black metal.
Okay.
So you could see why true black metalers are like, fuck this movie. You know, Hollywood is
portraying
trying to make money off this, and it's wildly inaccurate.
Okay.
I think it's going to be wildly inaccurate. I have not seen it. But according to, I've seen a lot of responses from Varg. He is the guy from Burzum, who's being villainized in this movie, according to the trailers.
He's the bass player, right?
Yeah, that killed Euronymous.
Okay, yeah.
And he doesn't like the movie because I believe it's based off of a book of the same name, and he thought the book was shit.
The Lords of Chaos.
Yeah, because it didn't really involve anyone involved in that scene. It was just like everyone else's outside perspective.
Okay.
Because it was mainly Mayhem, Dark Throne, and Burzum. That was the inner black metal circle.
That were like really...
Yeah, that's centered around this story.
Okay.
But Dark Throne and Burzum, the director asked him if he could use their rights to the music to play music in the movie. They both said, fuck you. Mayhem also said no at first, but I've heard that they might have changed their stance on that. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But all three bands that were involved in it initially said, fuck you, don't use our music.
Not in
Fuck off.
Okay.
Everyone involved in this story wanted nothing to do with this movie.
Oh, man.
So the story is probably going to be inaccurate.
Um,
And I watched a Q&A from that director, and he's lying already. He lied in that because I think it was an advanced screening, so there was a Q&A with the audience, and someone asked him, why didn't you use metal music as the soundtrack?
So we're not gonna hear music from Mayhem, maybe Mayhem, but not Berseram or Darkthrone at all. But their names and their
they can't use the logos, but they can use the names.
So they will be at least represented.
Anything
in the movie.
trademarked regarding them, they can't use.
Oh man,
logos, music, they can just use their names.
Now I hate this story. What the hell? That's pretty stupid then. Because I get it. I mean I get it where Berseram and they don't want that to be out there. Why the fuck are you trying to make them?
They're really the only ones that kept to that because Mayhem they changed their recording style and started touring a lot, so they don't really have the original message. But everyone that was for that message in Mayhem, they were either killed off or imprisoned for killing other members.
Oh my god!
Because it was dead, and Euronymous had this crazy message, and Hellhammer, the drummer, he was just in it for the music. He doesn't really give a shit about what was going on. He didn't do any of the church burnings. He didn't involve himself in any of the violence or any of that.
Oh shit! Okay.
He just wanted to play drums.
And so the fact that I don't want to say he was pressured into it, but he got put into a spot that he didn't literally want to be into. I mean, he was the drummer with all these other things going on in the background, right? I mean, the whole church burnings, the murders and stuff like that. And he's just God damn it. That's how I would have assumed he would have felt like.
Well, no. With his personality, he doesn't really give a shit about anyone.
Okay.
In the documentary, Until the Light Takes Us, he said when Euronymous, his guitarist, was killed, he said there's no reason to be sad over this. And it's either because, Hellhammer's kind of a fucking crazy douchebag, heartless asshole, or Euronymous was a douchebag that everyone hated at that point when he was killed, or maybe a little bit of both. When Euronymous was killed, no one liked him anymore.
Okay. Oh, man. See, this just makes me wonder what this movie is going to portray for American audiences then. Is it going to be like a commercial thing where we're all going to have people dress up as black metal for Halloween and stuff?
From what I've seen from the interviews with the director, it seems like Euronymous is going to be kind of idolized. Which is bullshit because Varg looks back on all this with remorse in a way. He's sad. You can tell he's kind of sad when he talks back about this because they didn't accomplish anything except starting a black metal trend, which is the one thing they didn't want to do. According to Burzum and Darkthrone, true black metal died in 1993.
1993.
Yeah. It didn't die with Euronymous. It died before him.
Okay.
Varg specifically said spring of 1993. It got trendy.
And that's when it died.
That's when it died.
Okay. And I can see that because it wasn't meant to be that way.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing they didn't want to do, and that's the only thing that came from this.
Holy shit. So that makes me wonder then how much of the movie is going to portray a lot of other, like you said, it's going to talk about the band Mayhem, but not in the way that it actually mentions the name, maybe. But the other bands that are involved in it as well, they're probably just going to be name-based, right? We'll only know about them, but maybe one of the I don't know. I want to do more. Wait till the movie comes out, but
I haven't read the book either, so
let's watch this trailer right away.
All I know is Varg hates the book.
So this doesn't seem any better.
Because of all the lies.
Yeah, this does not seem any better.
Here I am, an average teenager, you may think. But you couldn't be more wrong. I'm the founder of Mayhem, the most infamous black metal band in the world.
We are lords of chaos.
You guys suck.
Mom, tell her to get out. Life was easy back then. It was all about having fun, drinking beer, playing hard and loud music. And then everything changed. Varg, the lone wolf, I hereby appoint you bass player of Mayhem.
Okay, pause it right there.
Have to take this to.
Okay, so that point right there, he just joined the band, and what was the initiation? I don't even see, why are they giving him a necklace?
Another thing, they were anti-Christianity. They weren't satanic.
Okay.
They were just trying to be provocative with all the satanic imagery. They were just trying to piss Christians off.
Okay.
They weren't into Satan.
It
They didn't worship Satan. They didn't do any of these stupid rituals that Euronymous claims. Like, I doubt that exaggerated at best. I don't know, though.
So in my eyes, what I see is like more of like a meme state where they're just like, I want to show you really fucked up and ridiculous things because that's what's offensive out there. And some people take it as like, that's super offensive. Or like if you see an offensive meme, it's funny to us, right? So that's how they saw it. That's how I figured they saw it, is because they're just like, let's get the most offensive thing that we could think of and totally fuck with it just to see if we can get a reaction from it.
Yeah. Let's piss off all these conservative Christians out there.
Oh, man. And
not just conservative Christians, but just Christians in general. And then Varg, he decided, like let's take it to the next level. Let's burn down churches.
Oh, man. But, okay, so that thing, though, is pretty much the Hollywood being Hollywood again.
Hollywood being Hollywood. The director clearly admitted that in the same trailer they show Euronymous' girlfriend, and he said, like, that's all exaggerated. Everything involving her is a lie. That's the lie part in the Based on Truth and Lies.
So
he openly admits, like, that's Hollywood exaggeration.
Okay, just to have like a female character and stuff.
Just to have a love triangle or whatever the fuck's going on.
Oh, man. Okay, go ahead. Let's hear some more.
The next level.
You said it yourself. We should burn them all down.
If you do this, we're...
So he acted on his own then.
He did it.
All right, pause it.
According to Varg, they planned that there's this Norwegian holiday. It's the same day as D-Day, where it sparks the start of the Viking Age.
Look for that Norwegian holiday.
Same day as D-Day.
So yeah, Norwegian holiday, same as D-Day.
Icepick is asking, it's not black metal, it's shock rock?
No.
And then Alice Cooper started it in 1969.
Well, it's not that it's shock rock. I don't want to say that's what it came from either, because I mean okay, in your opinion, black metal saw stuff like Kiss and shit as them shocking people, right? That's where the idea. I don't want to say that's where the idea where the face paint and stuff come from.
I don't know, because I know the second wave of black metal after 1993. I know Dimmu Borgir, they loved Kiss. I don't know if Darkthrone and Burzum and Mayhem did.
Because I know Immortal did as well.
Immortal totally went the over the top clownish looks.
Let me be the Thunder God and shit like that.
They went over the top with it, but I think I read somewhere that Corpse Paint kind of started out as Alice Cooper and Gene Simmons kind of mixed together.
Okay.
Whoever first started it, that was the look they were going for, I think, or someone was going for that look. I don't know.
So it was see, that's the thing. It was an influence. It wasn't that exact they're categorized as shock rock because Kiss and Alice Cooper did it. It's like, yeah, that's just the influence of that genre or that time period of the music that made it into the black metal scene.
Yeah, but they went a step further by actually trying to go through with their political message of get Christianity the fuck out of Norway.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Did you find that D-Day date? The date? So it's a Norwegian holiday the same as D-Day.
Yeah, Varg said it was it represents the start of the Viking Age.
The Viking Age.
Yeah, and that was when the first church was burned down, and he tried to get people from all across the country to do it because they all lived in different cities, you know, like a few of the bands lived in Oslo. Burzum and Darkthrone lived in Bergen, I believe. Emperor was in Telemark, which was more north, you know. They were all like scattered all over the country, but they would meet up in Oslo or Bergen at, you know, Oslo at that famous record shop.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So,
Stop it.
where the hell was I going with this?
Okay, so the fact that they were all in different locations and they wanted the burnings to happen kind of not simultaneously.
That's right.
But
Varg was trying to plan like 8 different
at once.
on the same day.
Okay.
The day that's represented the start of the Viking era. So it was eight different churches.
D-Day is 6/6.
On D-Day?
Yeah, June 6th.
June 6th. Is there was there a
There was someone who said D-Day is 6/6.
Oh, but there should be a Norwegian holiday. But there's a Norwegian holiday.
I think in Varg's YouTube channel and all the black metal history videos he does, he talks about that.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be 8 simultaneous church burnings in all the different towns, all scattered across Norway.
And there was, I don't want to say it's specific churches, but there were probably supposed to be churches that have more significance than others, right? They probably weren't going to burn a church that's like a little house home church compared to an actual like.
I think Varg focused on churches that were burnt on or built over Norwegian sacred lands.
Okay, see, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because that would make a lot more sense too.
Yeah. So that night, only one church was burnt down.
And it was the one he did.
It was the one where in the city that he lived in.
Oh.
He didn't admit to it.
Okay.
And what's really funny is in the trial, he was charged with 4 church burnings. He was convicted of 3 of them. The one in Bergen that started it all, he wasn't convicted of that one.
Oh my god. And the one that's in his hometown.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, that's hilarious. They're just like, we don't have evidence for you doing it here, even though you live here.
Mm-hmm.
It's more likely that you did this one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna charge you for the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. That just makes it. Oh man, see that because again, Hollywood's portrayal of the story is just gonna be more of like, I think like a gimmick, like just to make it for marketing. Like I do not doubt, not a huge amount of people, but a group of people that see this, that are from the age of what, 19 and younger, are just going to take this as a trend.
Yeah, Darkthrone hates it because it's going to start another trend.
That's what
it's going to start another fucking trend.
Oh man.
And like American black metal is on the rise right now. Actually,
really?
Yeah. Death Heaven. A lot of they're kind of a provocative band because a lot of people don't like them because they're like simplified things and like they're from California, so like. It's not. It's a parody black metal, but it all depends on who you talk to because Darkthrone views everyone after 1993 parody black metal.
Yeah.
And in all this research, I found out that Emperor was actually made fun of at the beginning because one of the other messages was "Don't sound like anyone else."
Okay.
And then Emperor comes out, and they were accused of sounding exactly like Immortal. And then guess what? They started adding synthesizers and keyboards and all of a sudden they didn't sound like Immortal anymore.
Oh man.
And then the same thing happened with Enslaved. They were accused of sounding exactly like Burzum, but they didn't give a shit. They didn't change their sound really.
So after that,
in the beginning.
Yeah, see, so what was it more of like a See, I don't even know how to explain it because they didn't feel like it was part of the music anymore. They just wanted to make their own music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and just don't sound like anyone else. Copycat metal. That's all America's doing with 80s death metal at that point, you know.
And that's funny, I guess, about America and their metal scene is that it's always copied itself. Once a new trend comes with it, it has like at least 10, 15 variations of it that really hit, that go commercial, that everybody goes with. Then it just transitions from there. Like I can't think of any, like, I don't want to say, well, because they're not as big as they used to be, but like the whole, I don't even know what to categorize like Five Finger Death Punch. But when that whole metal scene came out, a bunch of bands just sounded like them, and they all hit. They all doing the same tours, playing the same. Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Well,
that's America.
Yeah, that's America, man.
That's
we just mass-produced bullshit, and you just have to find those hidden gems.
So okay, how is it though that other countries appreciate music differently than we do? That's what makes me more upset too. Is like there are probably still pop festivals and country festivals in Europe, right? Or do you?
Oh yeah, there has to be. Like metal didn't take over there. It's just they don't have the FCC.
It's more accepted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's less regulation, so it's like easier access.
Okay. See,
I
and
guess.
that's what makes it, I guess, a little more disheartening here is because like you have festivals like Coachella and shit like that where you're just like
This year's the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. Aren't they trying to do another Woodstock?
oh man, that's probably gonna fail, and it's probably gonna be nothing but commercial artists, right?
Yeah, and nothing's gonna be accomplished from it. It's just gonna be a bunch of people partying and getting fucked up. Like nothing's gonna be accomplished, just like the first fucking Woodstock.
Oh man, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I have faith though. Recently on the Joe Rogan podcast, Mike Tyson was on it, and he said he's actually starting a ranch in California called Tyson Ranch, and it's gonna be a huge resort. Huge.
I've heard about that.
Huge. He's gonna have concerts there. He's gonna have fitness. Dude, it's gonna be like a luxury, like little oasis, I guess. It's just so crazy to think about that. Maybe something can come from this that might help. I don't want to say the metal scene, but I don't know. Mike Tyson might be into something cool. Just like, hey, bring like a European metal band or like some power metal or
Right.
something. Because
It's not really that. It's the U.S. travel visas.
that's a problem too. You think?
Ish. I saw an interview with Ishon, the former frontman of Emperor. They're still around actually. They're doing reunion tours. He said he doesn't want to. He can't travel in America. He can't tour there because it's really hard to get a U.S. visa, a travel visa. It's expensive. It's expensive to tour out here, and it's just like what's the fucking point anymore?
Okay, I guess I see that too because I'm a little disappointed too because
And like all those guys are getting older. A lot of them. He's a family man now. You know, he does very little touring. That's why he's able to release an album like every 2 years. He spent most of his time in his recording studio at his home.
oh man,
Does very little touring, so he just focuses on writing shit these days.
so I can see that though. That's just disheartening here.
Burzum retired 5 years ago, moved to France, got married, and like has like 3 kids with his new wife, at least.
I guess it
Just releasing YouTube channel videos.
that's all.
And like, I forgot to preface all this. A lot of them are racist. A lot of them are Varg straight up. Like you can argue whether he is or not, but he's pro Hitler.
Whoa.
I know that.
Okay.
He's open about that. He straight up says the mainstream media portrayed him as a bad guy.
Okay, so
it's like, in all this research, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection because when I first got into black metal back when I was 14, you know, I wanted to be in a symphonic metal, black metal band. You know, I wanted to be these guys.
yeah.
I wanted to meet these guys and tour with them. You know, silly dreams. And like looking back on it, they would have fucking hated me because they didn't want to make music for those fucking whiny little brat teenagers that go to the mall to go buy these metal CDs. Like I was one of those fucking kids. Fuck.
But see, that's the thing, though.
But
is
it was out of my control. You know, I didn't choose to grow up here.
I guess that's true too. But you took it in an open embrace. Like you took the music
Yeah.
and went with it in a different way than other people that take black metal or any genre of music and just.
And like not only that, like once I got into it and found out about this crazy story, like towards the end of freshman year of high school, fuck, I lost my train of thought.
The story in after high school.
I was able to relate to the original message of true Norwegian black metal because I was not a fan of Christianity at that point. I've been
Okay.
an atheist for a few years now. I've been open about my atheism at school, and I got labeled as a Satanist because people were fucking dumb in middle school and didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, a lot of people mix the messages.
Yeah, and I was kind of pissed off at trends and popular things and American commercialism and once I found out like they were against all this too, and like I loved the music before I found out about the message. Like it was easy to get behind all this
because it made sense.
Yeah,
yeah.
I kind of ignored the Norwegian nationalism part of it because I just
you're not
like,
native. You're not from there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that's
couldn't relate to that, and it comes off as kind of racist. Like kind of gloss over that, unfortunately.
But how much of that isn't like music in general? Like there's so many cultures that spread music around the world that it's so influential that you don't know exactly the message that it spreads besides the feeling it gives you. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when you first were introduced to the black metal, it was just invigorating. It was just awesome. Like until you figured out the message,
especially with symphonic black metal, because I was always a fan of classical music.
Okay, so it just ramped it up a little bit more. And I love the last time you explained to me too is like the way that heavy metal is. It's just really, really well composed music. Like it's amazing. If you really sit down and listen to a well composed metal song, it can take you just to the straight. This is the same as a Vivaldi piece or same thing as a Beethoven piece. And that's what's amazing about that is that they brought that influence in it too. Symphonic black metal? I mean, come on. That's right. You don't think about that. You didn't. I don't think about that. You don't think about that at the time. Especially growing up, I never thought like always wanting to start a band and stuff like, oh, that'd be cool if I had 2 guitars doing harmonies. Oh, that'd be cool if I had the keyboardist. Oh, that'd be cool if there was like almost a death sound in the back. You know, it all just influence from different people and different bands.
Right, but there was such a surge of European metal bands at that time that like all that's been done already. Like I was thinking like what if the keyboard parts were so complex that you need like 2 or 3 keyboardists? Well, Nocturnal Mortem did it already. They have 2 keyboardists.
Yeah, you hear that too sometimes. You're like, what if it? Yeah, exactly. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. So like you shouldn't with those what if questions, you shouldn't like look into did someone do this already? Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Just fucking do it.
I have this philosophy that I always go by where I'm just like, there's like 7 billion people out there. One of them has to be thinking the same thing you're thinking. Not only that, the person that's probably thinking what you're thinking already did it. So like literally, like we could be having the same thoughts, me and you right now, but somebody's already thought of that thought and did it.
Yeah, with Varg's YouTube channels recently, like he used to be like, you know, just a true black metaler, like be original, don't sound like anything else. But these days he's like, there's no originality. There's no originality. Like we're all influenced by something.
Okay.
You can't just create something that hasn't been done before, or you get something like Burzum.
Yeah, I could see that. And even then, I don't want to say it, but they were slowly influenced by something. There's no way that they could have created what they created without it being an influence from somewhere.
Right.
So that's just insane on itself.
So, anyways, to backtrack a little bit, in that Q&A session, that guy asked the director, why isn't there any metal music? Why is there all this electronica in the soundtrack and in the movie? And the director straight up lied. He said the real reason was because Darkthrone and Burzum denied them to use their musical rights. And Mayhem did too initially, but I think Mayhem changed their stance because they had a Mayhem song in that trailer.
Yeah, and the
longer
logo.
than 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So Euronymous' family probably pleaded with Mayhem to fucking change that.
Oh,
I bet you.
You think so?
Yeah. Varg, yeah, because when all this church burnings started going down and all this attention started going to them, Euronymous closed the shop and apologized on behalf of the entire black metal scene. And he closed the shop on his family's wishes because the family didn't want all the attention that they were getting, according to Varg.
Okay.
All of this is according to Varg, you know. And unfortunately, that's the best source we have because Euronymous is dead. He's not going to be saying anything anytime soon.
It's not like he left the exact plans of what happened.
Yeah.
And see, that's what's sad too, is like it's always going to be the speculation now, just like whatever somebody else would have known.
And I was speculative of his side of the story until the Light Takes Us. And members of Darkthrone and Mayhem were confirming what he was saying. No one liked Euronymous at the time of his death. No one in the scene. He went to Bergen to record some tracks for De Mysterious Dom Satanas, in 1993, and at that point, no one liked him. No one, Varg didn't let him stay at his apartment. The guys from Immortal didn't let him stay with them. He had to rent a fucking hotel room when he went to Bergen.
Oh man, he just wasn't liked.
No.
That's crazy. Oh man. All right.
And the inner circle, like they're the ones that tell this true story where no one liked him, but everyone on the outer circle idolized him because they were duped by this crazy megalomaniac.
Just by his ideas and
Yeah.
what he thought of. And I can see that too because again, they look for some weird, I don't want to say
He was, at the time of his death, he was 24. Like Burzum and Darkthumb, they were 19. Emperor were 17. Enslaved was 15.
Oh man.
It was easy to fucking manipulate these guys.
Okay.
They're dumb teenagers.
Yeah, they're still very impressionable, especially
yeah, they
with what they
were
saw.
all really young when all this happened, man.
Holy shit. Let's finish playing this trailer.
Describe the murder as extremely violent.
Either you do it for the cause and you take action, or you do it because you want attention. You can't have it both ways.
The suspect, known as the Count, has
You
revealed...
pretend to be my friend so you can hit me off guard?
Why do you care about him so much?
See, he looks like...
Pause it, go ahead. Let's hear what Kevin has to say.
They portray him as this emotionally unstable douchebag.
I don't even know what's going on.
It's fucking a bunch of emo kids,
But
man.
he does probably have like some real heartening message in what he believes in.
Yeah.
Not the way they portray it here, where it's just like, I got my own
and,
problems.
like, they're gonna gloss over that a lot of them claim that Euronymous was all talk, no action. I think they're gonna gloss all over that he probably wasn't. They're gonna gloss over that no one liked him at the time of his death. Varg was super paranoid that Euronymous was gonna kill him. That's why he killed Euronymous. He was convinced that Euronymous was out to get him. Just extreme paranoia took over.
Dude, that's so crazy. Let's finish this off.
Black metal. I invented it. And now you betray it.
No. You had this dream, this vision. You were in control. You were a leader. Still be all of those things if you wanted to.
Everyone around you are disgusting little insects.
Let's go!
Is that James Franco? Go back.
As Hellhammer, that would be hilarious.
The guy with the bandana.
I believe that's Hellhammer.
It looks like James Franco so much every time I see this trailer.
Things if you wanted to.
Everyone around you
Get ready to pause it.
disgusting little insects.
Let's go!
Now. Ah, man. But that guy with the bandana
I don't
looks
think
like...
it is.
No, it has to be. It has
He would
to be.
have been in the credits. He would have been named.
Oh, okay, yeah. Been like James Franco.
To make more money.
Dude, imagine. Oh, this movie would be even more of a hit.
Do it.
I love this scene too. Like, in the woods.
Hi, Pal, it's Dad. We're going to the summer house, and we would love it if you come.
And that's the suicide right at the end, where he killed.
Yeah, but the suicide note was way longer.
And he killed himself though.
Yeah, but there is speculation that Euronymous convinced him to do it. Some people believe Euronymous actually did it, but that's not true. The Varg thought Euronymous did it initially, but then like the only reason what he said was the only reason I didn't think he did it because Euronymous was out of town when Dad killed himself.
Okay.
That's the only reason why Varg didn't think Euronymous
Did it. Okay.
And Euronymous was a psycho. The first thing he did when he found dead,
Dead.
his best friend, the first thing he does, grab a fucking camera and takes a picture of it.
That's crazy to think about too. Is like
The guy was a fucking psycho. He was into snuff films at the very end, dude. Like the other members of Mayhem were like, this guy's fucking nuts.
what are we gonna do, right?
Varg claims Hellhammer was happy
Holy shit.
when it happened because Varg claims Hellhammer called him. It's like, hey, did you hear about Euronymous? And Varg was like, yeah. No one knew Varg did it at the time. That's another interesting story behind that. And Hellhammer, Varg claims Hellhammer said good riddance.
Damn.
Good riddance. His own drummer may have said good riddance.
Damn.
And if you look at it, once Euronymous was out of the scene and Dead was out of the scene, it kind of thrived because they were the ones that were like, you need to be Satanist, you need to be evil, you need to dress in black all the time and have spikes and leather and all this bullshit.
It was just an image at that point.
It was just an image.
Oh, man.
It was a fucking Halloween costume.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Because, see, yeah, they, again, like you said, it was more of a message until it got turned into...
Mm-hmm. And then he killed Euronymous. His crazy trial happened. Varg claims that the mainstream media and the Norwegian officials used him as a scapegoat to scare all these other black metalers into, like, stop fucking around.
All right, okay.
And it kind of worked.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense, too. Oh, man. And then they turned it into, like, what it is now because they didn't want it to be as extreme, you know? Like, hey, look what's happening. You guys, you're going to play your music. Make sure it's not as fucking as extreme as this.
Right.
Oh, man. But
right, because... yeah.
And that's,
I don't know. The more I look into this, it's like, this movie's going to be bullshit.
It probably will.
Yeah.
Now that I see more of it and then you explaining it more to me, I mean, it does kind of seem like it's going to be bullshit.
But yeah, in the deleted scenes, I think, of Until the Light Takes Us, they were talking about how when Euronymous was killed, the entire scene was freaking out because they were talking mad shit about Swedish and Finnish black metal bands at the time, trying to start like a rivalry, you know, in a way, you know. And before all this happened, Fenris got a letter from some Swedish band saying like they were gonna fucking start taking him out or something like that.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then that happened. So then they didn't know Varg did it at the time.
So they thought it was a...
So they thought like Swedish or Finnish bands were trying to take him out. So Fenris was carrying a two-handed axe everywhere he went. Hellhammer said they started stocking up on guns and weapons.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And that's... I don't want to say it's the equivalent of a gang war, but that's like pretty much what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shit. And we... Man. But still, I still think America's way worse. America's way worse.
Yeah. I don't know, but another funny thing is Varg is complaining a lot because the actor that they casted for him,
the main one, right?
The Varg dude.
Okay, the
main guy is Rory Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's brother.
That is his brother?
Yeah.
Okay. He was actually in Sneaky Pete. He was in that show as well. But that's crazy.
The guy playing Varg, I think his name is Emery Cohen.
Okay.
His last name's Cohen.
Cohen.
Which is Jewish. And everyone knows that Varg is pro-Hitler, racist, and hates Judaism. He hates Islam and Christianity too. That's another weird thing. If you criticize Judaism, it's easily to you're racist. Like no, it's the religion he disagrees with, but he is pro-Hitler.
Okay.
And he is kind of racist. And he's subtle with it in his videos. I've been watching it, trying to
hear those cue points.
Yeah, hear those cue points. Like, what is he really trying to say here? All those subtle little hints, you know, of Aboriginal Europeans or the fucking dominant race.
We were wiped or something before. Okay, I see what you're saying. Just like propaganda or whatever.
Yeah. Subtext.
Okay.
I try to look out for the subtext in his videos because he is fucking pro-Hitler and racist.
That's crazy. So do you think his popularity then more is going to be because of this movie?
Yeah, if this movie succeeds or fails, like, he's going to benefit from this. I think.
I wonder what.
Because if people want to look for the truth, they're probably going to go to Until the Light Takes Us or his YouTube channels. And he promotes the fuck out of his books, and he has a role-playing game, too, that he made.
What? Holy shit.
Yeah, he introduced all those guys to D&D, and they were like, "What the fuck is this?" Back in the day, you know.
Yeah.
He was a fucking nerd. Burzum is Elvish for darkness from Lord of the Rings.
Oh man. Okay. So they do have that nerdish mentality.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of dudes wanting to play music.
Yeah, it was a bunch of nerds just trying to say "fuck you" to the system.
That's so crazy that it turned into this epic story, this actual thing that happened, and now it's weird that it's getting adapted though. That's what makes it even weirder. Like you said, they were trying to do it, but then it got no funding or whatever. And now they got ramped back up.
They tried to release this in 2010.
I saw that it said Vice presenting it.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Which is another thing. There's this Vice interview about true Norwegian black metal where they interview the former frontman of Gorgoroth, Gall.
Oh, Gall.
That American interviewer sucked. And
Really?
It was a Vice interview. That interview sucked. At one point, Gall is like, "You just don't get it," and the interview's like, "Guide me through this." And Gall's like, "No," and just sits there in silence.
Oh man!
And it looks like a still shot, except there's a lit candle in the background.
He's just
like staring off, like, "I don't want to fucking talk to this guy anymore."
Oh man, because I remember not the documentary, but it's kind of like a music documentary with heavy metal history, and he has from I can't remember Headbanger Sam something.
Headbanger's Ball?
No, it's there's a YouTube channel now that has that promotes a lot of metal, but I cannot remember the name of the guy, Sam something. But anyways, he does a documentary about the history of heavy metal, starting from the Black Sabbath era all the way to American metal, which he's calling like Lamb of God and Killswitch Engage and shit like that. But he has one segment of the black metal scene, and he does have an interview with Gall, and it's just it's the most bone chilling. Oh my god, it's just so scary because he literally does portray like if he is Satan. I don't want to say like he is, but he is fucking. He's evil. He's so sick the way he just presents himself. I see him like he is true black metal. No, you're cool.
Yeah.
Gall is, I don't know.
And that interview is weird because he talked about his past. He went to the equivalent of not public school, but the schooling he went to. He was from a small town.
Yeah.
He went to school with one other kid for like all throughout the public school or the equivalent of. And once they both graduated, the only kid he fucking grew up with in school killed himself.
Damn. Holy shit.
And they were both like, Norwegians are pretty quiet themselves, keep to themselves,
Yeah,
that's another reason why I was able to relate to these guys. I'm quiet, I keep to myself, I don't like people.
Yeah, you're not trying to like interact with giant crowds and stuff right away. And
yeah.
That's crazy to think about, though, that he grew up with just that one friend.
That one friend. I don't know if they were even friends. The one schoolmate.
Oh, that's even crazier. Holy shit. Gall.
So, yeah.
Man, Gorgoroth is another...
I can see why he has that persona. I hope that's his true self, not just...
I think that is. That has to be.
I hope so.
That has to be.
Because that was another thing about the parody black metal. Like, it's all fake. It's all fake, all for show. Let's make some money, guys.
So do you still believe that there are those true black metal people out there? Like, here's an example, like Gall.
Fans for sure, but amongst the bands, it's Burzum and Darkthrone. And Burzum stopped playing music 5 years ago. He retired 5 years ago, stopped playing metal 7 years ago. His last 2 albums weren't metal.
Oh, okay.
And even he argues that like he didn't play black metal after 1993 within Burzum.
Even though a lot of people would consider it black metal.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. See, that's so crazy in itself, too. Because, originators of other music genres, they wholeheartedly still believe that that's still alive and kicking. It's still going.
Those are the only two that kept the shitty fucking recording style, that same sound. They didn't give in to commercialism.
Yeah, see, they better portray that in the movie too. Like
that was the true Norwegian black metal bands. It's maybe Mayhem, but they changed their recording style.
Yeah, they went professional, right? They go to a good.
They tour all the fucking time now.
This is just gonna boom their status even
Yeah,
more.
Whether this movie is good or bad, succeed or fails, like they're going to benefit from this.
Holy shit! Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to see this that don't know anything about black metal, and they're their first.
And it might be an enjoyable experience with that mentality, but I don't have that mentality. I know way too much about this.
I can see that too. So we're, in my opinion, we're just going there to see what they portray. That's all. We're just like, hopefully it's a decent job.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I want to see how inaccurate the story is, and I wanted to see the church burnings on the big screen.
Okay.
But I watched an interview with the director about that. They're of course, I'm not surprised about it. They're models. They're about the third of the actual
size.
My
God.
Yeah. According to the director, the filming only took 18 days for this movie, dude.
Really?
18 days. It was filmed in Budapest except for the Norwegian church scene. They went to Norway to film the outside of it. The priest said, no, you can't film the inside of it. So they built a set of the inside of it. And then they built a model a third of the scale when they burned it.
Holy shit.
And the wood made from that model was from the Blade Runner set.
What?
Yeah.
So they just used scrap.
Because Ridley Scott is a producer, I think. That's what the fucking director said.
They're like, hey, we got some scrap wood.
Yeah.
We got scrap wood in the back.
So, like, that's kind of cool.
Oh, man.
They're burning down the Blade Runner set.
We're done with this. We don't need it anymore, guys. That's so sick. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. The way Hollywood works, right? Oh, man. 16, you said?
18 days of filming.
18 days. What the fuck?
It was all in Budapest except for the exterior Norwegian church scenes.
Oh, man. See, that kind of gives me a little spectacle as well, too. Like, only 18 days.
18 days. It took them fucking 10 years to get the funding for this, and they film it in 18 days.
And the way they make it look.
And they get Val Kilmer's son to play dead. They get Rory Culkin. They get Emery Cohen, the Varg dude. He's done stuff too. They're like
possibly Jane Franco is Hammer.
They're not no-name actors, but they're not very well known either.
Yeah, they're like what BC class.
Val Kilmer's son is playing dead.
Oh man. So yeah, they're actually gonna. They'll have their friends. They'll have a lot of people that go see these movies. Like they're gonna be like, here we go. This is. Mm-hmm. What do you think though? Is it more of like an independent thing for them to like let's try something new with our acting style? Let's try something we've never tried before. Because this seems kind of new. I mean, I've never really. I mean, what they've been unfortunately.
I'm unfamiliar with all these actors. I don't know any of their previous works.
I only remember the main actor was in a drama / I don't know. It was stupid. It was great. I liked it.
Like Hollywood cast a Jewish guy to play Varg. Like that's a big like. They didn't cast any Norwegian peoples. That's another fuck you to Norwegian nationalism.
That's gonna be great. I wonder, it's only going to be at select theaters, maybe? Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, it's going to be like...
I've only seen trailers of it on the internet, I'm not seeing it on television.
But if it's coming out in 2 weeks...
Right.
It has to be in select theaters, probably. Maybe with that, one block with one movie screen.
There has to be one Albuquerque theater playing it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Well, we have to see it. You have to totally see it. I'll see it too, and we'll do another review over it again. Come in and talk about it. Be like, dude, what the hell? Yeah. I love the makeup. Oh man, because I still can't wait to see what they're gonna do. Now that I'm super skeptical, it's like the story in itself, the way you portrayed the bass player too. He's not an emotional little bitch throwing tables around. I'm like, my life is a little crazy.
No, he was trying to organize serious change and an actual political message, and now he's like, black metal sucks since 1993 because there's no message anymore. It's about making money.
Yeah.
Shock metal, shock rock.
Yeah, shock rock.
It turned into shock rock.
Maybe that's why they assume it. Maybe because it did turn back into what it was, what they thought it might be. Or that's just what they want to name it. It's let's call it shock rock.
They only accomplished starting a trend. And that's the one thing they didn't want to do.
What's up?
Have you guys ever heard of Metal Evolution?
Yeah, there you go. Have you seen that show? It's called Metal Evolution.
I don't think so.
It's I think it was an 8-part series on VH1 Classic where he goes into in depth. It's based off that movie.
Oh, okay.
But it goes in depth into each genre
Yeah.
of music.
Okay,
and
I've
talks
heard of
about
that.
it.
I haven't seen it though.
It's pretty cool. That's what he did the 8-part episode, but he did a movie before that. There was a movie called Heavy Metal: A Headbanger's Journey, and that's where he has that interview with Gall. Like, you should pull it up. Just the Headbanger's Journey Gall interview, and it's not that long. It's maybe like a good 2 minutes. But again, I don't know if he just does that with interviewers, because it kind of seems like he's portraying himself the same way you just said. Like, he's just like.
I don't know.
He says,
is it an act with these guys?
He says 2 words, I think. He just says Satan and like what fuels his.
It was funny to hear Varg make fun of other bands.
You can put the first one. That's fine. Watch for the ad.
If the meat.
Told you. Oh, and this message is brought to you by. I'm just kidding. Here we go.
You telling us what is the primary ideology or primary ideas that fuel Gorgoroth's music?
Satan.
I know, dude! I know!
Sip some wine. Is that all he says?
That's it.
Oh.
He said one more thing on another part of that interview too. But yeah, it was just.
That's so Gall.
Oh man. So that's crazy to think about too, is the way he portrays himself. And I don't know, have you ever seen interviews with Abbott from Immortal?
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's this
I love
joking guy, always talking funny shit.
He has a fucking sense of humor. Like, he knows this is all a joke. He knows he's a fucking evil Gene Simmons.
Okay, see that? Okay, I can see
He knows he's doing over the top shit. Like, they're really the only ones that kept with the fucking face paint from the old scene.
Okay, so they still, after the whole black metal
they were like
died.
one of the first after the big three, Dark Throne, Burzum, Mayhem. Immortal's like one of the first to come after them.
Okay, that actually did good success. Because I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of other bands trying to make it, but, you know, it happens with what it was.
And another thing, I think they're going to gloss over Euronymous' record label. Because he was a horrible businessman. His record shop was a financial black hole, according to Dark Throne and Burzum.
So that was going on, all that stuff too? He had his own little record label?
Yeah, he had his own record label. He signed Burzum. Psy's first album was signed with them. Enslaved's first album.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So we should see these other bands in this movie. We should.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like, Emperor was going to sign with them, but he died. So then in the Nightside Eclipse was postponed because they had to find another record label.
Yeah, hopefully they don't gloss over that then. That does seem like
he was a horrible businessman. That's why Varg started to hate him so much.
Losing money.
Yeah. Like, and Mayhem, too. They weren't getting any royalties from the selling of their albums because he was using all that money to pay his rent or whatever the fuck he was doing.
Oh, man. And that just sucks. It's just bad business thing.
Yeah. Like, they're going to totally gloss over why he was hated.
Again, make him seem like an emotional little bitch.
Yeah, and why Varg wanted to kill him is because he was convinced Euronymous wanted to kill Varg.
Okay, yeah.
He was extremely paranoid.
I remember that.
And he approached it poorly because he woke him up in the middle of the night, went to his apartment. Varg went to his apartment, fucking was super aggressive with him. And according to Varg, he explained the whole killing of Euronymous and Until the Light Takes Us.
Yeah, he went to go get. He's like, he saw him going for a knife, right? And so he stabbed him.
No, he thought.
Oh.
This is what happened. He goes. No one likes Euronymous at this point. They're not friends anymore. And he starts hearing that Euronymous wants to kill him. And Euronymous isn't just telling everyone and anyone that walks into his shop. He's telling close friends.
Okay.
And that's why Varg took it so seriously. When someone starts threatening your life, you start fucking...
Yeah, thinking about it, like, what the hell?
You think and do irrational things.
And that was one of them.
And so, out of nowhere, Euronymous calls Varg. Well, Varg claims that Blackthorn, the guitarist of Mayhem at the time, was living with Varg, and Euronymous called Blackthorn and was telling him over the phone, I'm going to kill Varg. I'm going to capture him, torture him
oh my God.
in the woods, and film all this. And like the guys from Mayhem said, like, we didn't like him because of the financial black hole of the shop, and he was getting into snuff films.
So there you go. There's already a reason.
Yeah. So he told Blackthorn over the phone, I'm going to do all this. And Blackthorn was living with Varg, and he's like, told Varg, come over here, listen to all this. Varg claims he heard all this over the phone directly from Euronymous, and he said it's in the court documents, but you have to go to like the Oslo
Okay.
courthouse to go fucking see it, but it's all on public record over there apparently. So Euronymous calls him out of nowhere. They're not friends anymore. He's being friendly, trying to convince Varg to sign this record deal with Burzum, for Burzum with Deathlike Silence Records,
Okay.
which is his record label. So he's like, okay, fine. So he drives from Bergen to Oslo, 500 kilometers, which is about 300 miles, through mountains and bad roads. He finally makes it at 4 a.m. He drove there with Blackthorn, the guitarist from Mayhem, and he goes over there with the contract, and he's convinced, like, he wants to kill me. Why is he being friends with me? Why is he trying to do this record contract all of a sudden? He's trying to get close to me to take me out. So he approached it all wrong. He's super aggressive, goes to his apartment at 4 a.m, wakes him up. He's being super aggressive, telling him he doesn't want to sign the record. He's done. He doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. And then Euronymous is paranoid and freaked out. Varg claims he attacked him, kicked him, and Varg was like, I'm shocked that he attacked me. Like, why? You went to his apartment to fucking kill him, and you're shocked
that he is attacking
he's attacking you? And there's some claims that he's changed his story over the years. Whatever. So Euronymous kicks him. He like pushes him into a lamp, and like he's swimming in glass shards, as he put it. And then he starts running to the kitchen.
Okay.
And Varg thinks he's going to run for a knife or a weapon. He thinks he's going to do that. He doesn't know. So he pulls out a pocket knife, stabs him in the back a couple times.
A couple times? Do you remember the number?
I'll get to that.
Ah!
Hold on. And then he tries to run upstairs he tries to run to his bedroom, and Varg thought he had Dead's shotgun, the shotgun that Dead used to kill himself.
Yeah.
He thought that shotgun was in Euronymous' bedroom. He thought he was going for the shotgun, so he follows him. Well, he doesn't go to his bedroom. He goes outside and tries to escape. Varg follows him, claims he stabs him, finds him in a parking lot, stabs him once in the head, kills him instantly. And then Blackthorn starts freaking out because he's with him, so he has to calm Blackthorn down. And the reports are it was 23 stab wounds.
Yeah.
According to Varg, the medical coroner that examined the body labeled the glass shards, the glass punctures, as stab wounds as well. So who knows? Who knows? Either way, he fucking stabbed him in the head, went to his house being super aggressive, stabbed him in the head in self-defense.
Okay. So even the way that they portrayed it, like, made it seem like he did it with evil intent, when it could have just exactly been what he said, his self-defense.
Yeah. He was convinced Euronymous wanted to kill Varg, so Varg took him out.
That's crazy. That's good. That's so crazy.
And he's claiming that the glass wounds, the medical team labeled them as stab wounds. That's what he claims. Who knows? Who knows if that's fucking true?
That's crazy to think about, too, because you can imagine glass shards doing some sort of damage to your back or wherever the glass punctured him.
Mm-hmm. But he did say he stabbed him in the back a couple times, thinking he's running off to get a weapon when he was just trying to escape.
Oh man, so they're
more than likely trying to. So who the fuck knows? I wasn't there.
Exactly.
We're only getting one side of the story because one of them's dead.
Oh man, that's the worst part too. Is that it's only one-sided.
Mm-hmm. But like Darkthrone and Mayhem have confirmed some of the things he said. They have not openly said like, yeah, Euronymous wanted to kill him. And in all this, Blackthorn, he gets overlooked in all this because he gets labeled as an accomplice because he went with Varg to go do all this. He didn't know Varg was going to do this.
Oh, okay.
Varg was ready to take him out too because he was the guitarist of Mayhem.
Oh man, so he might,
like
help
they're
his
both
friend
trying.
or
They're
something,
both trying to take me out. Blackthorn ended up spending 8 years in prison as an accomplice for all this.
Oh man.
And he gets overlooked. If you like black metal, check out Thorns. His band, Thorns. Thorns is badass.
Okay.
And it kind of gets lost and forgotten in all this.
It's just, because he has so much of a controversy behind him.
And in the trial and his testimony, he came off as kind of insane.
Oh man.
So he was not a very reliable source for Varg.
I could see that then.
Which backfired, and Varg blamed a lot on his lawyer. He was young and naive, so he trusted his lawyer to a fault.
Oh. So there's a lot
he blames the mainstream media for portraying him as a bad Satanist, bad guy, Satanist, evildoer. And it wasn't about Satanism. It was never about worshiping Satan. It was about being provocative and pissing off Christians.
This is going to be good. Should be good. It should be good to see what they portray as history, whatever they want to do with it. And let's see what it does. I honestly feel like we might see an emergence of black metal. Maybe it's just a trend, Kids start listening to black metal. Kanye West wear a fucking black metal shirt. Something stupid like that. But I feel like because of this, more people will at least get to know black metal. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know.
True black metalers would say that's a bad thing. This isn't for everyone. This music isn't for everyone.
But that's true of every music, right? A bunch of people are always like, you can't listen to trap music. That's why I listen to freaking dubstep. Like, I can't listen to thrash metal anymore because it's thrash. I need something more extreme, more amazing, and comes into something like black metal.
Another thing that confirmed a lot of what they said about Euronymous being a douchebag is he did this famous Swedish interview in 1993 promoting Damn Mysterious album, and he just comes off as a total douchebag. And it's on YouTube. Just check out search Euronymous interview, and then search for the Swedish 1993 Swedish radio interview. He just comes off as a giant douchebag. He's saying stuff like, Mayhem only releases stuff if we know the music's perfect. Even if it takes 10 years, we won't release just album after album. Which isn't true. According to Varg and Darkthrone, he was lazy. They weren't rehearsing towards the end, and Hellhammer was pissed. The other members of Mayhem were pissed too, probably. Hellhammer was mad because they were never rehearsing.
Oh,
they were just living off reputation because they were the first metal band in Oslo.
That sucks. So, the potential of the band growing, too, just was the
Euronymous was just holding not only Mayhem back, but the entire fucking scene. He had to leave the scene. It's unfortunate that he was killed in order to do so, but, black metal thrived after that, in my opinion.
I can see
the
that.
True black metal died.
The true black metal. But the idea.
But the trendy
idea came out.
The trendy black metal that the mall kids like, that thrived.
It's booming. Oh my god! I remember when I first started to get into black metal, it was all about Demon Borg Gear or something really
I listened to Cradle of Filth at first, and then I listened to Demon Borg Gear's Puritanical Euphoric Misanthropia.
Oh man!
I borrowed that CD from my friend Jeff, and I was listening to it in a freshman English class. And my mind's being blown, and everyone is oblivious to
whatever's going on.
How much that moment is gonna shape my life.
That's so sick.
Just oblivious to this crazy experience I was having.
I love how that happens sometimes too with music. That's just one of those experiences. I remember getting Evan had a burnt CD in his CD player, and I didn't even know what it was. It's just a blank CD. So I took it, and I got to borrow it, and I just ended up listening to Children of Bodom forever. It's just like, this is the best fucking thing ever. Like, I can't believe I don't know who this is. Took me a while to figure out who it was, but I asked, do you remember Matt? Not little kid Matt, but it was named, he was the older Matt, like really bushy hair. I can't remember. I don't want to say his last name because I don't want to give him out that mad, but I know we've hung out with him a few times, and you know
I'm
him.
sure I'd recognize him. I'm bad with names.
But he's the one that told me this, like, yeah, he lent Evan that CD. It's Children of Bodom. And since then on, it was just like, you know, an awakening of fucking wow.
Is he the guy that had the chameleon?
Did he have a chameleon?
One of Evan's friends that was into metal had a chameleon.
Again, he had like really, really bushy hair, like the guy from Coheed and Cambrio.
No, he had short hair.
Yeah, he had giant hair like Coheed and Cambrio's guy. Fucking.
Oh wait, he joined the army, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt.
Oh my God, Matt.
Yeah.
Sideshow Bob.
Matt.
Sorry, Matt. Sorry.
Oh man, him. It was because of him that I got into Children of Bodom, and it's just that awakening of music that just blew me away. So. The only sad part is that Children of Bodom just released a new album, and they're not coming here to tour. Fuck!
Fucking U.S. travel visas, man.
They are coming to America, but they're only coming to certain places. Why can't you come to New Mexico?
Okay. It's easy to fly over state.
You always come over you always come to New Mexico. Why would you not come this time?
Oh, they're making that money.
Oh, man. It looks like a good album, though. It's called Hex. I don't know if you saw the song that they released with it called Under Glass and Clovers.
I saw it on Spotify. I've been meaning to listen to that.
I think you'll like it. It has a cool dual keyboard back. It's a little bit lower tuned, so it sounds a little more heavier, but it's obviously melodic and stuff. It's cool stuff. I can't wait to actually hear the whole album. But that's something to look forward to. Are you looking forward to any music coming out? Anybody? Anything in general?
My friend Alex invited me to this show. He's thinking about driving out to Austin in March. It's a Baroness, Deaf Heaven, and Zealand Ardor.
Oh, nice.
Baroness headlining.
Cool.
I really like Baroness. I think I might go.
That'd be sick.
Go to that show with him.
Where's it at again?
Austin. In March. Because they're not coming here.
Yeah, see? If any, the closest place would be to Denver or something to go see the Children of Bodom concert, which is just so sad.
I don't know. Is there any music? Psy released a new album a few months ago. The Japanese black metal.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They're black metal. They're like avant-garde, experimental. But they're really good.
Psy.
S-I-G-H. Not that weird Korean pop guy.
Okay. It's looking up Psy, and it's just this, hey.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check them out. I need to check out some of that, too. That's crazy. Dude, this story. We got to get back to it, though. After we see the movie, we'll talk about it some more and see what's up.
I'm gonna have to watch it twice because the first time I'm gonna be like holding a clicker. Okay, that's a lie. That's a lie. Click, click. Okay, there's 1,000 lies.
Oh, the counter. Yeah,
yeah,
you gotta
counter.
Keep the counter going. You're just gonna be like, have you ever seen that YouTube channel Cinema Sins?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be like that.
Mm-hmm.
You'll comment and then tell you why.
Okay, that was cool. -5 to the counters.
It's like, why is the fire this big and if he only used one little piece of gasoline? Come on, Cinema Sin.
Yeah.
It's stupid shit like that.
It is funny when he was explaining the scale of the churches. He said if we made them any smaller, it would look like a Godzilla movie from the 50s.
That's why I laughed when he said it was a scale. Like, I wouldn't even have thought of that. It looked real. Mm-hmm. They did a good job if it was a scale thing.
I think they did like Lord of the Rings angle manipulation or something.
They're like, we need it at the right, like if it's any smaller than 3 feet, it's gonna look shitty. It's gonna look shitty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool to think about that they went with that aspect too. It's gonna be good. What's up? Anything else that's been bothering you out in the world? I have a problem.
Just lack of. There's so much false information on social media.
Really?
If that's what I wanted to talk about, if you ever invited me to do another podcast, but then I saw this movie and I've been obsessing over it. And like, I need to fucking talk about this.
Nice. So, okay. What do you mean about the false media, false information?
It's just we don't know how to fact check anymore. Facts don't mean anything. There's so much false information on Facebook. It's just reading comments in Facebook is just the worst. It's to the point where, like, the economy is doing this. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, you sound like fucking children. Post some sources.
Okay.
Back up your claims.
So even
do better at arguing and debating. We all need to do better.
So even when somebody does post up a source or anything, that should be more intent for them to go research it, right? Not just to start commenting under it.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly the problem I see all the time too.
And when people say like, "Oh, just do a quick Google search. Don't stop being lazy and make me do all the research for you." I'm telling you to post your sources to benefit you. It helps you and your credibility. If you start spewing shit and posting a bunch of numbers without sourcing anything, you sound like a crazy person.
Oh man, and that's true too, because you can be posting the sources just to discredit them, to make them really seem like they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's okay, here's another example that I love that Joe Rogan was talking about, is that we kind of need this false information. We need people being stupid with this false information so that we can just, I don't want to say we will do it, but we just got to be like, that's not true. And then once everyone sees that it's not true, it's like a domino effect. Like, maybe he's right, and then it turns into actually turning into fact. So we have to let the bullshitters bullshit so that the real fact people that do call them out on their facts start making a trend for other people to start doing it. Because we don't, not a lot of people do it. That's the problem, like you did say.
I think we've talked about it before. It's okay to be speculative, but just you can't straight up deny facts.
Yeah, exactly. It's especially if it's
or admit facts when you're arguing stuff that's beyond your expertise or knowledge. You know,
it's just it's harder.
Yeah. Thanks to Trump, everyone is an expert economist. All of a sudden,
oh man!
All of a sudden, everyone is an expert politician, expert negotiator. Everyone knows everything about foreign policy.
And do you think it's just because of the way he portrays himself? They see it.
He's just such a catalyst that he's this whole landscape is tapping into tribalism. You know. Oh, he's on my team, so it's okay that he's doing this. Oh, he's not on my team, so everything he does is bullshit.
I like how you brought that up too, because we're going back to the whole fucking
how is that possible? Just because you're anti-Trump doesn't mean every single thing he does is bad. How can that be fucking possible? There has to be something you agree with him. It's just he did it, so fuck him. You know
exactly. That's what it is. They're putting themselves in these two sides, which just sucks. Again, we're back to the whole like, are you from the left or are you from the right? When people have good ideas from both sides.
I'm a liberal, but I hate Christianity.
See,
I'm an individual. I don't speak on behalf of any demographic.
So you wouldn't know. Yeah, you can't be spewing out things that say like, oh, well, the Christian population is like speeding out this, where it's like, I don't really know because I'm speaking through myself.
Right.
And that
I don't speak for all liberals because I hate Christianity, and a lot of these religions need to go away. A lot of liberals don't agree with me.
And that's what's weird, too, to think about, is that you have a lot of liberal ideas with other liberals besides that one, which kind of deters you from actually being a liberal. They're like, I'm not going to label him a liberal because he has that wrong idea of all the other liberals. Which is kind of fucked up because you can't even have multiple ideas from different places anymore because it's, again, tribalism.
And then it's easy to get mislabeled. Like, did you see Alex Jones on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah.
With Eddie Bravo? That episode is hilarious.
The 9/11 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that one.
It's so funny because Alex Jones says that he considers himself a liberal. But the mainstream media suddenly labels him as this right-wing nut job because he's a Trump supporter.
Oh, man.
He wasn't a right-wing nut job before. He was just a nut job before Trump.
Now they labeled him because this guy.
He hated George Bush. He was mad that Al Gore was lost the election. The election was stolen from him. Yeah. He hated George W. Bush.
Obama.
But he hates the Clintons, too. He didn't hate Obama at first. He was seeing like, I don't really know what this guy's going to do, but then Obama became a globalist, and then all of a sudden Alex Jones is like, fuck Obama.
Yeah, okay. So that's, fuck.
But that podcast was hilarious because it's classic Alex Jones. He comes off as this articulate, intelligent guy, but then he starts talking about interdimensional Luciferian child molesters.
Oh man, the gay frogs and shit.
The gay frogs and what else was it? The psychic vampires sucking the energy from our children.
What?
Yes.
Oh man.
And like, Joe Rogan tried to portray it as like he's just joking about all this. Like he's the conspiracy theorist guy, so that's why he goes with all this, you know. And it was funny to see Alex Jones like drinking whiskey and smoking a joint on that podcast. Like that podcast was super entertaining to me.
That's crazy. Because I don't know if you've ever saw the one after that podcast. He has a podcast with Alex Jones again after that one, and there's some problems with it because remember how he was saying about the Sandy Hook?
Yeah, he started spreading lies about Rogan.
Yeah, that supposedly that Rogan wasn't asking the right questions, he wasn't telling me the right details or whatever. So
yeah,
that was kind of crazy to think of itself too, of how
right.
they do have these same ideas until a certain point. Because I guess Joe Rogan said he didn't know that Alex Jones believed that all the actors, they're crisis actors at the Sandy Hook thing. You know, Mike Child didn't really die and stuff.
Right, and not only that, Rogan also said Alex Jones was saying the FBI was following Rogan and his family, or somebody from the government was questioning him and his family, and Rogan's like, that's not true.
Yeah, that would have been a long time ago. Like, Joe Rogan has been into conspiracies for quite a while now. I mean, like, you know, he had his own show
and
on...
he constantly flip-flops. It's really funny.
He's had that show on Sci-Fi where he was like, Joe Rogan questions everything. So,
right.
I mean, I don't see why...
Joe Rogan's an interesting character. I like his podcast because he'll bring people on that disagree with him. He doesn't mind being wrong and being fact-checked, you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't mind admitting he's wrong.
Oh, man, there's been some pretty funny...
And he always talks about fucking DMT.
That's a crazy in itself. Like, oh man, going into hallucinogens is just a weird experience.
But like, yeah, the best Rogan podcast, in my opinion, are when he has like scientists or
intellectual guests,
or his stand-up comedian friends.
Some of them
the
are
intellectuals and his comedian buddies. Those are the best ones.
Those are pretty funny because you know you could even get some good ideas from the comedians because they do see it in a political aspect. But they joke about it. I mean, and that's what's the funniest thing about it. That's what I love about Joe Rogan too, is that like he does see like really good like social issues or really good like things that are really hard hitting and need to be talked about, but can still joke about it in a way that gets you thinking about it.
And he's good at debating and arguing because he doesn't stray off topic. He's like, no, stop with the whataboutism. We're talking about this. We're not talking about that. We're talking about this. Well, who's saying that? What are you talking about?
Oh man. I kind of want to put up this interview. It's not an interview.
He's a really good interviewer.
Because he had a podcast. I don't know if you know who Steven Crowell is. He's a YouTuber who kind of goes off and like he does things like at Trump rallies where he'll be like going to people and be like, "Why do you believe in this?" And then he'll talk to them.
Change my mind.
Yeah, he's that guy. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast and they were actually having a really
What's his name?
Steven Crowler.
Okay.
He was having a really heated debate about marijuana with Joe Rogan, and it was pretty bad because like. He made it seem like he was getting like kind of tag teamed by Jamie and Joe Rogan because obviously Jamie can pull up the facts that he needs to and Joe Rogan is talking.
Yeah, and Jamie comes off as a liberal douche.
So I can see why Steven got a little upset, but that was a good little, if you ever have a chance, just look up Steven Crowler and Joe Rogan arguing about marijuana because all the rest of the podcast is actually pretty good. There's some political things they're talking about, but just when they get to that marijuana aspect, it's really bad because he doesn't feel. I think Steven Crowler doesn't feel like it should be federally managed. It should be more of a state thing, which is fine, but he just doesn't care. And Joe Rogan's trying to explain to him like
I've seen that clip.
He's trying to explain to him, and they're just going at it.
And that's kind of silly. Like, don't leave it up to the states. It's silly that we can go to Colorado and smoke, but then we cross this arbitrary fucking line on a political map and it's illegal. Like,
yeah, like
it's I hate states' rights sometimes. All or nothing in this case.
Yeah.
All or nothing in this case. Make it like alcohol. Make it dry counties. Not every place has to sell it, but it should be fucking legal everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It should be viewed as alcohol and just have dry counties where, you don't want to sell marijuana here? Fine, that's fine.
We'll just go to the next county.
Yeah.
Somewhere where it would sell.
You're losing money. Good for you.
And that's crazy to think about, too, because everyone sees the success that other states are doing. Why wouldn't it just be a federal thing? That's too much politics for me, though. I mean, oh man, it's just getting.
And then that argument where they say like traffic accidents, fatalities are going up in Colorado and other places where they legalize marijuana. Well, the population in those areas is also rising, so that's like correlation does not equal causation.
Yeah, exactly. There's more people there, so obviously.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what? If you legalize something in certain areas,
people are gonna
flock to those fucking areas.
Oh man, yeah, with the whole distribution of those whole those THC cartridges now, they're only really distributed in California and in Denver, but they're spreading amongst everywhere because people go over there to go get them to bring them back wherever they're at.
Yeah, and that's weird about like wax and all that and the THC in this state, because a friend of mine works at a dispensary and he's saying like the legislatures that passed all this, like the wax can only have a certain percentage of THC, or the THC cartridge. There's a lot of weird regulations to it from these legislatures that don't know a fucking thing about it. It doesn't make any sense.
So
yeah, the wax they sell can only have a certain THC percentage,
content level.
Yeah, concentration in this state. It's weird there's weird limitations on like wax and stuff like that.
So it's still available in the wax form or the oil form, but if it were to come in like a marijuana form, like the leaf or the flower.
I'm not sure about that.
Because I do know that there is a law that was passed here where it says that you are even less fined now for the more marijuana you have. So you can have up to an ounce on you and you still will only get a $25 fine.
Yeah.
So with that being said, small amounts of marijuana are okay. So the highest concentration of marijuana in a flower is like what, 28%, maybe 30%?
Yeah, but like cops and courts can't regulate that. It's really like the businesses that have to regulate that. If we make something too powerful, we're not allowed to sell this.
They're like, yeah,
because of these dumb legislatures.
They wouldn't be able to see how strong.
They don't know what cannabis are riding a trend. It's a trend, man. Cannabis is trendy.
Let's go.
Pro-cannabis is trendy all of a sudden.
Let's check it out, guys.
Yeah, let's make some money off of this.
That's gonna be crazy. Well, let's see. I mean, my friend says within the next year or two it'll be passed here. We'll be able to do.
They're introducing a bill into the Mexico state legislature.
Okay.
The House Democrats.
So let's see where it goes from there.
It's about time. Never should have been illegal in the first place.
Well, I mean, the way that it even got illegal is crazy.
Yeah.
Because the story was because it was a kind of like a kick to the industrial industry. They're like, dude, we can make so much more shit with hemp. Why don't we use hemp?
Right.
And they're like, we already have a really good monopoly with paper. Let's stick with cutting down trees and stuff.
And then they're like, oh, look at all these Mexicans and black jazz musicians that are smoking this wacky
tobacco.
Like according to Joe Rogan, marijuana was originally a slang term for like wild Mexican tobacco.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like marijuana.
Cannabis was associated with that, but then like the white people needed to fucking control the minorities that are all smoking this fucking weird green plant and sleeping with our white women.
Oh man. So like we're having
and
more
like, hey,
fun.
let's demonize the Mexicans too by calling it marijuana.
That's crazy. That's crazy that those terms just came from shit like that.
It's crazy how much legislation in America is fueled by racism.
Oh man.
Not only in the past, to this day.
Yeah, they still
to this day.
That's crazy. That is so funny. Oh man. A touchy subject, probably. How do you feel about what people with being gender neutral and stuff now? How much are you accepting it? One thing that I've been noticing that's a real big problem is that like this community of the LGBT LFTW2, whatever number of letters they have, they are actually making it so that scientific professors cannot even do their course because they are offended by the scientific.
Didn't Canada pass a law saying like you can't misrepresent gender?
I don't know.
Isn't that why that Jordan Peterson guy got popular all of a sudden?
Yeah,
he was against that.
Yeah, he is against that, and he feels like the way that they're portraying it is that it's super aggressive. They're not bringing it in a way that is inviting so that people will learn. It's forcing it on people, and that's kind of scary to think about. Is because I don't know if you know this, but I'm pretty sure they said, we can double check this, in New York there are certain schools that are actually starting to have gender neutral bathrooms. So elementary schools.
Well, the thing with gender neutral bathrooms, are there multiple stalls or is it like a bathroom in your house here?
I think it's a multiple stall thing.
See, that's weird.
So it's like
that's kind of weird.
It's
I don't know enough about it to really have an opinion on it.
See, that's what I'm still trying to do research on it as well too. The thing that makes me the most upset is that the fact that actual professors, there's even a professor here from New Mexico known as Gregory Jeffrey or something like that, bathroom rights for transgenders, but here in New Mexico as well, he's having that same problem with actually not being able to teach his actual proper criteria because of gender neutral or transgenders or whatever are getting offended, and they're really bringing it up like if it's a problem.
Gender neutral bathrooms are weird. I used to work at Expo New Mexico, and Gay Pride Fest is held over there.
Okay.
And they have gender neutral bathrooms
during that time.
Yes. And it's just in and out, just whoever's, it's fucking weird. And what I noticed is no one's trying to like check each other out. They're just trying to relieve themselves.
Okay.
And at one point I was cleaning one of the restrooms, and this couple, older lesbian couple, like middle-aged lesbian couple, they asked me to leave the bathroom. And I was like, they're gender neutral bathrooms, and it's my job to clean these. Just let me do my job. And then they kept saying like, could you please leave? Blah, blah, I'm just trying to clean. And then they finally said, you're making our daughter uncomfortable, because their daughter was with them.
Okay.
8-year-old kid at Pride Fest.
So what isn't uncomfortable there, right?
Yeah. So it's just like, whatever. Like, I was mad because
see, that's them pushing you. They're pushing you. That is that's exactly.
I wasn't mad about that. I was mad because there was so many people that I don't know if you know this, but female restrooms, they have feminine hygiene trash cans.
Oh, so you can throw your tampons and stuff away?
Yeah, those were overflowing and making the restroom smell horrific.
Okay.
And I was trying to clean those, and I was mad because like these need to be cleaned. So I had to go find a female coworker and demand that she go clean those because I just got kicked out of the restroom.
Oh man! And yet you're at a festival which promotes equality.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But I made them uncomfortable because I was making sure that the toilets they were using were clean.
I feel like this is pretty bad. I feel like what's going on now with this.
I can understand the backlash because it's easy to fear and hate things you don't understand. A lot of people don't understand this, yet it's being forced on them. And I don't know what the solution is.
That's like, the hardest part.
Education? How do you legislate the education for this?
See, and how can we educate when you get two different sides of how science should be portrayed? Science is science for a reason. I mean, we believe it because it's wholehearted facts.
Right, and it feels like they're using semantics to
manipulate it.
To manipulate it. Because physically, there's two genders.
Yeah.
Biologically, there's two genders, but mentally, there's millions.
I think they pretty much might have went 72, but I'm just throwing a number out now. But that's exactly it.
Like, it used to be labeled as a mental illness, and like I don't know what to think about that.
Okay, here's the shittier part, that actual gaming.
Yeah, the World Health Organization labeled that.
That's a mental illness.
Yeah.
Why is that a mental illness, but you being able to switch your genders within 15 minutes?
But not only that, why is not binge watching TV?
A disorder.
How is that different from video game? I'm interacting and actually doing something in the video game instead of just staring blankly at a screen.
And you know what's funny too is the fact that some time does get more spent because they promote that shit. They're just like, aren't you going to binge watch the new Orange is the New Black? That's almost like a legit, 72 hours of nonstop play all the way through. Are you going to do that?
Right.
That is probably really bad for your eyes. It's probably really bad for your mental health if you're not standing up and doing some stretching. I mean,
it was great. Mystery Science Theater, the reboot,
the
second season on Netflix, they made fun of this because they called it The Gauntlet. And they said it was 6 episodes, and each episode is an hour and a half long. And they said they've recorded it all back to back. So they're making the guy and the robots binge perform this.
Oh, okay.
That's the way they portrayed it. And they told their fans to watch it. all the way through in a binge watch. And it's 6 episodes, an hour and a half long. That's 9 hours.
Oh God, that's like a whole day, like just of nonstop.
And they released it on Thanksgiving, so you have Thanksgiving dinner and then binge watch this for 9 hours.
Oh man! And the funny thing is,
I got halfway through.
Yeah, see, there was dedicated fans that tried, and that there were probably some that succeeded. They saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got
man.
through 3 episodes, and the 3rd episode was really tough to get through.
Oh man, you're just like, were you just passing out? Just couldn't handle it?
Yeah, all that fucking turkey.
So much fat inside. Man, have you seen the new Black Mirror movie, Bandersnatch? Have you heard about it?
The interactive one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
It was pretty interesting, but it felt like
no matter what you did.
No matter what you did. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay,
Spoiler
spoilers.
alert. If you guys are not wondering, go watch it.
I like how, like, when you made the wrong decisions, they, like, gave you the option of tracking back. Okay. And I also like how it escalated. It's like, oh, first choice, what type of cereal do you want to eat?
Oh, yeah, super simple.
Second choice, what type of music do you want to listen to? Third choice, do you want to work from home or work in an office? Is like escalated to like
murder.
What type of cereal? What type of music? Boom. What type of career do you want?
That's crazy. Did you get to go through the whole thing? Like, there's so many different alterations.
No, we only did. I only did one playthrough with my friends. So we saw him jumping off that apartment when he was tripping with that dude.
Okay.
He jumped off. The video game was shit. Everything we did, the video game was shit. And they kept giving us the option, do you want to go back and do something else?
Oh, okay. Did you see...
So, like, after with that, it felt like no matter what choice I made, it was going to this. And then the movie, the dialogue in the movie started, like, reflecting that.
Okay, yeah. That you're just pretty much in a loop. Because you saw that part where he was, like, on his computer at first, then it shows that weird sign that he saw. And then the next time you go back, it's like... Netflix is controlling, or you're being controlled by Netflix.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, and I
liked how after a while he was like, I don't feel like I'm in control anymore.
I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you know about that book that they're talking about?
That's an actual book?
Yeah, it's an actual book. I don't know if you remember this, but Goosebumps.
Yeah, I remember those.
They had that kind of series.
And I would backtrack. Like, do you want to go down here or down there? I go down there. Oh, you died. I'd backtrack and go to the other option.
Oh, man. Page 37 killed me.
Right.
That's so crazy. That's pretty much what it is, though. It's just an interactive book now turned into a movie. So let's see where more of this comes out, because I don't want to say that was a test run, because I've never seen anything like this. So let's see what more of it comes out like, and it should be fun. Bandersnatch.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you liked it.
The final ending we got to was when he cut off his dad's head. He killed his dad, cut off his head, and like put his head on like the dresser, and that inspired him to fucking finish the game.
Oh, okay.
The game was perfect, but like he got arrested for murdering his father.
There's even this one, I don't even remember, but there's this one where like it looks like an alien comes out from somewhere.
Weird.
There's an alternate ending where an alien comes out. So there's still a lot of endings that I still haven't seen either. So the way that movie works is just crazy.
I probably won't watch it again. I'll just probably watch like a YouTube clip
with the ending,
with all the endings I missed.
Same thing. The fact that I remembered it now,
it wasn't good enough to do it all over again.
You're like, I can't do it again. Mm-mm. And then because you already know what at least the first 5 choices are gonna lead to. I mean, even if you do something different with the first choice,
it'll just feel like a video game where you're like, okay, I fucked up this path, I need to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it becomes a maze.
Because I don't think it changes after the first 2. After the first 2, once you like pick your cereal and then your music, that's when it goes into its own direction. But the first 2 are like, whatever, we got 2 of them ready for you.
Right. It's like, are they fucking with us? Like, how could this possibly change anything in the story?
Exactly. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's fucking... We were pretty much almost at 2 hours, man. That was fun.
Yeah, that was.
We got to do this again after the movie.
Yeah.
So within like 2 weeks, I'll hit you up. We'll get back over here. I'm actually doing some research on some geography questions. So some geology as well. So we'll be having some more of that topic. If you don't mind bringing some of your information as well.
All right.
Have some of that as well. Other than that, I mean, looks like we did a good one. This was a good podcast.
Nice. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. Kevin, everybody, we'll be back later on tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with my friend Daniel. He's a car guy, so we'll be talking cars and we'll be doing some
mountain time.
What is mountain time? All right. But thanks again, everybody. You guys are awesome. Make sure to follow, subscribe, go check out Twitch channel, all that good stuff. I will see you later.